Hi everybody, and welcome back to our Google Classroom course. In this lesson, we're going to explore how you can add class materials to your Google Classroom. It's a great way to be able to package those important resources that you want students have, but we're sort of stuck. We don't want it to just be an announcement and get lost in the stream. We don't want it to be an assignment because there's no workflow. We don't want to grade it. And we know that the About section is gone in Google Classroom. So don't panic yet. Class materials has been added. The About section was really good in the previous version of Google Classroom. This is where we could post important materials like perhaps important class websites, a syllabus, digital textbooks, whatever that was. But one of the downsides to the About section was when you created a new Google Classroom for the new term or the new year, you couldn't reuse the posts in the About section. So now we have class materials. The class materials will actually stay in the classwork tab. Makes sense, hey? And what we can do is we can also reuse those posts now in the new Google Classroom. So we're going to get started, simple and easy. Make sure that you are on classroom.google.com in one of your new Google Classrooms, and I'll show you how easy this is. So now that I'm here, you can see in one of the previous lessons where I created a topic called class materials, and you can see the icon for the class materials here. You'll notice when you hit the create button, it's one of the options for what you can create in the classwork area. So let me show you in an empty Google Classroom. Well, in the classwork tab, I can hit the create button, and one of the options is to create a material. Again, I can create this material container for just this Google Classroom. I could do it for multiple Google Classrooms. I can also assign it to all students or specific students. In this case, I don't have any students yet in this classroom, so I can't select individual ones. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a title and a description. So in this case, I'm going to show our class syllabus. Really important. This is the most important part of the new classwork tab, is to make sure that we give everything a topic. In this case, there's no topics created yet, so I'm going to create one. Now, if you want to stick with what the old Google Classroom called it, which was About, feel free to do that. I like to call it class materials. You could even call it important class materials, but I'm going to create that topic that goes with it. Now you have the exact same options anytime you're posting anything in Google Classroom. I can upload a file, I can add something from my Google Drive, I can have a YouTube video, and I can also add a link. In this case, I'm going to go to my Google Drive, and God bless whoever invented recent. And I'm going to choose the Outdoor Education and Environmental Stewardship course outline that was created by another awesome Rofi in the district. I'm going to add this. Now, what you'll note about this is there's no due date, there's no grade, there's no students can view or edit. I'm simply posting this as a class material, which means the default is students can only view it. That's the point of this. You can come in here, you can look at those important class materials. I don't need any workflow, I don't need any interaction. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to post this. Now remember, if you're still working on this, you can of course save this as a draft. You can also schedule important materials to come out. So perhaps you are posting some study guides for specific subject areas, but you don't necessarily want those to be out all year long. You could schedule when you want those to come out. And of course, you can post this right away, knowing that your students will see it right away. So I'm going to say post. And what you're going to notice is that topic creates that container right there at the top, and our class syllabus has been added to it, and students are going to be able to look at that important syllabus. Now, we don't just have to stop at a physical material like a document. We could also perhaps add a website. So for example, I've created a Google site to support Edmonton Catholic Schools in using Google. Maybe you've made a Google site to support your students for your classroom. We have lots of teachers that have created Google sites, which is going to be another course that's going to be released. You can find that in our Learning on Demand, showing you how you can build a class web page in order to share important information with your students. So let me show you what it looks like when I attach that as a material. I'm simply going to copy my link to my site, and in my classwork I'm going to create material. I'm going to go ahead and say our class website, and I'm going to give it a link. Now don't forget the most important part, add it to that topic, and what you'll note is that class materials has now been added there. I can go ahead and say post. And right away, it's added as a material. Now, don't forget, materials don't just have to be a separate category. Perhaps I'm working on a specific assignment and I just want to add some materials, but again, I don't need the workflow. So now back in this particular classroom, I can see I have our class materials, but maybe in Sky Science, there's something I want to be able to add. Perhaps I want students to install the Screencastify extension because I'd like them to share a video screencast of their learning, of their understanding. And so something I might do is I might find an extension that's here in the Chrome Web Store. We know that students and teachers are welcome to install those extensions, but it is hard to have to search for these. So what I like to do is I'm going to copy the link to that extension. I'm going to go into my classroom and create a class material post. And I'm going to give it a title asking students to be able to install the Screencastify extension. So I've given some instructions. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add the link to the Chrome Web Store for Screencastify. And I'm going to make sure I give it that topic. Now, I want them to install this extension as part of our Sky Science unit. So I could add it to class materials, but I'm going to go ahead and put this material under Sky Science. And I'm going to say post. So now you can see under my Sky Science, I have some questions that we created in previous lessons, and I have the icon for a material, which is really important because that way I don't need grades. And you'll notice that in this stream, again, it's been added as an announcement. Every time I do anything in the classwork tab, it'll also be drawn to the attention of students. So that's it, that's class materials. What's really fantastic is when you use the reuse button, you can reuse material post, just like any assignment or any question, making your life a lot easier. So I hope this was helpful. Give it a try. Try looking at the class materials that I've posted as part of this classroom and see if you can add some of your own. If you need any help, just let me know.